Hello and welcome to Adobe Live with me, your host, Pixie Pugh, joined by whimsical children's book illustrator, Anna Daviscourt. Anna, how are we doing today?
Woo! I am doing absolutely wonderful. It's great to see you. And hey, everybody in the chat. Great to see you too.
So with that wonderful little bit of a snippet, we know we're in for a good time. But before we dive into that, I'm here to remind you to don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take a look at our Instagram at Adobe Live. That way, you can stay up to date with the latest streams, the latest information, and be involved with the Adobe Live community. But back to Anna, for those that are fresh and new to having met you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're going to be doing today?
Absolutely. I am a children's book illustrator, if you don't know. I love, as you said, whimsical kind of scenery and artwork and characters. I love to stylize characters. And today we're going to be working on kind of characters. They're going to look very unique. They're pumpkins. I am so excited to do this. This is a little bit of my work that you can see on my website. So you can see the whimsical nature, the colorful quality of it. I love texture. I've been playing a lot with traditional artwork, and especially in Photoshop, I love getting a lot of traditional kind of textures in my work. So today we're going to be working with a lot of brushes. I will try to call out every single one that I'm using. You can, of course, see all the names. A lot of them are Kyle Webster. Whoop, whoop, Kyle. So Kyle is also a children's book illustrator. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
Also author. There is a book called, oh gosh, Please Say Please. I got it signed by him at Adobe No, was it? I think it was 99U one year. Anyways, so we're going to be working on specifically a sticker sheet of pumpkins. And so I am going to kind of bring you through the process if you've ever wanted to make a sticker sheet of how I would go about it. I'm going to use a specific website called stickerapp today, but there are so many different, makers of stickers and things like that. But what I want to do is kind of bring you through a lot of the technical aspects of what you would need to do to prep a file, especially if you're a raster painter, not like a vector artist. So yeah, we can jump into Photoshop and I can talk to you about it.
Amazing. Now, as Anna's diving in, I just wanted to remind the chat on both sides that we can see you. Welcome, Robert, Andre,
We
Barbara,
see you.
Alessandra, Kendall, Vandal, Lauren. Welcome on in. Lauren, thank you so much for all that love for Anna earlier. That's
So
adorable.
sweet, Lauren.
If you lot have any questions at any point, please pop them down and I will be sure to let Anna know.
Yes, yes, yes. I also wanted to just mention before we just dive into painting pumpkins straight up, what I am kind of thinking of with this. With stickers, you want to make sure if they're not full bleed, which this is also a term in children's book illustration. Full bleed is when your artwork goes off the edge. So for books, it's where they cut the page. For stickers, it's where they cut the sticker. So if you imagine something like a star shape, there's going to be a rim of color around the star shape, or there's going to be a bleed of the color of the star all the way to the edge. So we're kind of trying to think in those terms for printing. So one of the things that I wanted was these pumpkins to really pop. And I thought that a way for them to pop off the page in a nice way that feels very Halloween-y and fall is to have a black background. So that's why I'm working on black. And I'm just going to work out some of the shapes with this really bright yellow so I can very easily see the edge of the shapes. And right now I'm using Kyle's graphite stick too. So yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say real quick, that's why you're seeing a yellow blob on a black screen.
So if anybody is doing this at the same time you're watching the VOD back, I think now's the time to pop open your Photoshop because this seems like a really fun little get together that we can
Definitely.
do together. And I was saying to Anna earlier, actually, that I absolutely adore her artwork. So being able to check this out is wonderful for all of us. So get your learning caps on.
Learning caps, gotta put them on. Sorry if I ever take your accent. I do that all the time.
No,
Talking with people, I just repeat back what you said, and I don't want it to sound like I'm make fun or anything.
All. Being like the few English people on the American side of the Adobe channel, it would be lovely to hear it back. So yes, it's all good.
Now if I try to do it. It's not actually going to work out. So we'll let it happen
Chip
naturally.
Chip Cheerio. As long as it's not that and no bottle of water, then I think we're all
Nope,
good.
nope, nope. I love British accents, all the plethora of different in the area. There are just so many ways of saying one thing, and I mean, what was it? My parents have BritBox. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
So it's a streaming service specifically for British television kind of stuff,
I have
like
heard of it. Yes, I
BBC
have.
and they absolutely love it. So every time I go visit them, I get to watch all the British shows.
Oh my
It's like,
goodness.
yes. Well, and of course, Great British Bake Off. Whoops, I just hit something. But
Of course.
yeah, it's that kind of like charming atmosphere of Great British Bake Off is exactly the vibe that I want whenever I'm drawing. So I like listen to stuff like that in the background all the time.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yes. Oh, it's so good.
Anthony's just jumped in and said, learning is always fun. Alejandro and PJ are saying their hellos.
Agreed.
Lauren's saying, I love
Hello.
Anna for real. For
Aw.
realsies.
Not fake love. Okay, this is real.
No, real. And Scone said, I do love bleeds. I usually do a final layout in InDesign though.
Oh,
Anna, is that
really?
a process that you tend to do, or do you tend to use that, or are you more of a Photoshop person?
I'm very much Photoshop, and I have just recently learned how to do the full bleed sticker line kind of technique in Illustrator. This is still using raster artwork that I brought in, and I just used the pen tool to create the edge that I wanted. And luckily on this website, the sticker app one, if you leave a comment just detailing what you want, they are going to make that happen basically. So I just said, hey, this is my first time making a full bleed sticker. How do or does this like look right to you? Is it going to come out right? It turned out absolutely beautifully, and I'm so happy about it. So I'm like, yeah, full bleed stickers.
Oh, and
But
for those that would like to find it, where can they find it?
the sticker,
Yes.
the one that I just made is actually this month's Patreon reward. I make
Yeah.
stickers every month for Patreon. So if you want access to it, you can sign up this month. I didn't even mean to plug it, but you brought it up.
Gonna make sure you get all the love on it, Anna.
Oh, thank you so much. So just real quick, I wanted to highlight a little bit of what I'm doing because this is going to go fast. So I want you guys to like know what's happening. So I'm blobbing stuff out. This is just like straight up feeling out abstract shapes. This is a really fun time to just kind of get meditative with it and be like, I like this shape. I like that shape. Pumpkins come in every shape. So we really have full freedom here. And we're not only going to make them pumpkins, but jack-o'-lanterns, obviously. So they are going to have shapes on shapes on shapes. It's going to be really fun to like give a lot of varied qualities to them. But the first thing that we can make varied about them is the shape. So I want to make some really big, some really small. Right now I'm feeling like these four are pretty even. So I think what I'm going to do is go in with the eraser tool. This is right now I have Kyle's Eraser Natural Edge as my eraser. And again, with stickers, the edge does matter. Having a shape that is very concise is important, especially with this app that I'm using, because it creates the cut line unless you personally create it in Illustrator. So if you want them to do the work for it, you got to make a clean edge, somewhat clean at least. See this, the Natural Edge Eraser by Kyle. This one has an opaque quality that makes it just like, oh, hit out a space. It's not leaving some kind of, transfer behind or anything like that. It's just a pretty hard edge, but it's still, if you zoom in, you can still see a little bit of texture on there. So it keeps that kind of textural quality of traditional artwork. So that's kind of the goal I have here, is to have fun shapes, natural but kind of hard edge. So that's what I'm going for.
Lovely. And we do have a question. PJ's just asked KED. It's always difficult for me to say for some reason. What service do you use for stickers, or what service are you using today? I don't think PJ caught it in the beginning.
Yes, today we're using, I use stickerapp. That's if you've ever seen the commercial with the little cat that's like, stickerapp likes to make stickers or whatever. I think that's what they do. But there are a plethora of them. I am originally from Portland, Oregon, and there's one up there called Sticker Ninja that I know a lot of people really like. And they're more by the day. I feel like they're getting really popular to make stickers, custom stickers. And one of the reasons I really like stickerapp was the low mock, which is the amount that you make as like one batch. So I didn't need like 500 stickers for like one design. I just wanted, 30 or whatever. And it's not that much money to get that made, comparable to other places. I know some people like Sticker Mule, and there have been certain, I think, giveaways in the past on Adobe. Have you ever seen those where it's like, Sticker Mule does some kind of deal with Adobe and they're like, oh yeah, we'll give away some stickers to the viewers.
Ooh, no, this is news to me, but we're going to keep our eyes open for that then.
Maybe in the future, hey, Sticker Mule. But I think any of these will kind of have similar ways of functioning. So it should be pretty applicable, what I'm showing you today.
Roberts just said one tip we can use to change the tide is that wiggly key, that one that looks like a wave.
The tilde key. That's what I've heard it. Yes. So the tilde key is magic.
Oh,
you know about this, right?
I don't know at all. No.
Oh, this is gonna blow your mind. Okay, so as you are using the brush tool, you're painting along and you have a certain brush, and I want to erase, but I have a different brush as my eraser, and it doesn't have the same quality to it. It's not the same feel. If I want to erase with the brush that I am using currently, all you have to do is press down that key below the escape key with a little wiggle on it, and it becomes an eraser of whatever brush you have right now. It's awesome. Sorry, what?
Has it always been that?
Yes, it's wild how few people know about this. Because seriously, it blew my mind the day that I found it, or not found it. Somebody told me about it. I can't remember exactly who. Maybe it was Robert. But this is a game changer for so many reasons. Like, look at that. You can get the exact brush.
I've been in the place where I struggle to be like, okay, let me find a sort of eraser that kind of has the
exactly. Yeah, you're trying to match it. It's so annoying. And you can do things like this, like if you wanted to render like shine on a hair or something like that. Like, it's just very intuitive, and all you're doing is holding down one key or letting it go, and you have both options. It's like, oh, key not down, key down. It's just amazing. I love it.
Incredible.
Anyways.
Oh, Spontaneous also said, InDesign is great for checking bleeds, live area, etc. Not sure for odd shapes though. And Spon was going to say, or I was going to mention, Spon says, Illustrator as well. Typically, you can set a swatch for the lines that the plotter understands. Okay, so there's a lot of... What I like is that you don't necessarily have to do it in one program. You can find what program works for you to have the same end result.
Absolutely. This is the way that everybody says it in Photoshop. They're like, there's 15 million ways to do one thing. So there is no right or wrong. It's just all what feels comfortable to you. And that's the beauty of it, is if you're not comfortable with one way, you'll find another.
Oh, and Anthony Jackson just said, I won those stickers from Adobe before. I know what you're talking about. You got a winner.
Yes, all of this is really important for Photoshop. I think the more comfortable you get in a program, the more seamless your artwork becomes, where it's like, oh yeah, I know how to do this, and you can do it quicker every single time. It's really important to get that workflow down. Okay, so again, these four are the ones that are bugging me. So I'm going to go in with the eraser tool real big and just knock one of them out. So I'm thinking there's already a tall one. So I'm going to do like this upper right one looks very similar. Honestly, this one looks similar too, but we'll change them up. Okay, and then I'm going to make this one long and small. We're just going for variety of shape here. And then we're going to move on pretty quickly.
Does it matter to you how many you have on the sheet of paper, or are you going for a certain amount, or is it just however many fits? Or
I'm going for just fit today because I am doing this just for funsies. I don't necessarily need to like bring this to print or anything, but those are great questions to think about when you are creating it. That's something that you have to pay attention to because this is, it's the whole purpose of why you're creating, right? Is like for this specific purpose. So if there's some kind of parameter to your project, or if you're just kind of coming up with it on your own and trying to give yourself parameters, those are super important questions to think about. So like how many do I want on a sheet? Do I want more sticker real estate? Do I want background real estate? Do I want certain sizes of stickers? Like when you peel them off the sheet, are they going to read well? That kind of stuff. All very important. I should mention that the file size that I'm working in today is 8.5 by 5.5. This is called like a half letter, I believe it's called. And so just keep that in mind for if you're visualizing how big this would be in real life.
Speaking of
IRL.
visualizing, Anna, for those who might be a bit like me, who might need to see it, would you mind showing us your image size window as well?
Image size window. Where do I find that?
Please.
Just the
Image size.
Boom. 300 pixels per inch. I work in inches, but everybody has different working styles. So
thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah. No, thank you for bringing it up because I always forget to do stuff like that.
We've got a couple of comments as well before you continue.
Absolutely.
Sandra is amazed about the tilde key, as I think we all are.
Yes.
And Anthony said the most important tool in Anna's toolbox, the tilde key.
Yes, honestly, it is a game changer. It makes me so happy. And I hope everybody else who just learned about it today uses it today.
So I do have a couple of questions for you, actually.
Please.
So I noticed that you're going semi-old school with this, that you're doing it all on one layer for the original pumpkins. Was that a choice? Or
that is, I think, just for my brain to not have to switch between a bunch of layers. However, you are super smart. Okay, so this it will change in the future. So one of the things that I have to think about for the sticker sheet, I guess I could just like bring up the website and kind of show you guys how it works, but maybe we'll do that a little bit later when we have files saved out. So there are two aspects to how you upload these. So one is the background and two is the stickers. So when you just do a background layer, say I have this black, but I wanted to decorate it with something, I could put little like stars all around here or something like that. Make it cute, whimsical. And like, whatever I want, little leaves, little vines, something, fun. And then I would turn off this layer and I would just export this JPEG and then bring it in as the background. Then the other element of it is they want the stickers to be PNGs with no background. So I would turn off the background and I would individually crop all of the pumpkins. So in that way, I would want to have the pumpkins on their own layers so that I don't, accidentally like crop a corner of 5 of them or whatever like that. So yes, I will in the future want to put these on their own layers, but honestly, I find it so much easier to paint together on things that are visually separated. If they were overlapping, I would definitely have them on different layers, but it's my workflow. So follow your workflow as well if you were to do this. And if you're following along at home, let me know how many layers you got going on. I used to be a million layer kind of person, and now I'm kind of like the opposite.
Streamlined it now.
Yes, definitely.
People are shocked in the chat.
Shocked.
Yep. Shocked about the one layer.
Worthy. Well, I am okay. So currently, the one layer you're talking about is just the shapes as the background, and that's literally like I use a color as a shape creation tool. I do this a lot with characters as well. I just like block out a silhouette and make sure that that's working first, and then I come in with color on top of that. And how I like to connect it is putting a layer above it, and then I should tell you what I'm doing. So over here on the right, you'll see that there's this layer above that has some of the oranges and reds and stuff. And if I hover between the two layers while pressing the Alt key on my keyboard, I can clip that layer to the one below it. So now whatever pixels are on the layer below it, that's what the top one is locked to. So it won't go outside the edges of that.
Wonderful. We've got a couple of comments, and is there a question? No, a couple of comments for you while you do your thing, and one question from me.
Oh,
okay. So Marcy says, yes, this is half a sheet of letter size paper. Thank you, Marcy. So I've noticed, like, when you're printing things in paper size, you know A4 and that's it. So it's nice to know the rest of it.
I'm just now learning about A4 and all that, like all the different sizes. I think it's brilliant that they all work together. If you don't know about the A sizing chart, it's all, what do you call it? they're all the same aspect ratio. They just get bigger. It's
right.
so
They all fit inside each other. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's so metric system. Is it? Yeah, metric system. Now I'm like getting it mixed up, which is like imperial and which metric or whatever it is. It's millimeters, not inches.
There we go.
It makes sense. It's like based on solid math and stuff instead of it just being arbitrarily 12 inches is a foot. And I love stuff like that, like when it actually feels like somebody thought it through. It's nice.
And Lauren says, I am following along at home. I'm on one layer too. I'm doing little moons though.
Little moons. That sounds so cute. Oh, I would love to see that. Lauren, if you post it anywhere, please tag me. I'd love to see.
And I think we've got your DLs below. In fact, it's probably for me to add onto the stream. So I will do that. For those that are looking to find Anna's details, I'm just going to pop that in the chat now. And Jake Green says,
thank you.
Anna Daviscourt, my favorite artist.
Oh my gosh, Jake Green, my favorite person. This is one of my friends, Jake. And also another friend, Kendall, is in the chat. Hello, guys. How are you? And by the way, what was I going to say? There was something I was going to say, and then I got distracted. Oh, I'm just Anna Daviscourt at everything. So if you see the way my name is spelled, I'm that on all social media. So pretty easy to find.
And the question that I had for you, how did you pick these colors in particular? Are you a color theory person, or do you have a method to
color theory person? So yeah, the journey of me and my colors, I feel like I used to be more of a color theory person. I really love analogous color schemes. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like a group of colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And every once in a while, I'd add like little pops of some kind of complementary, and like it's fun to do that. But now, honestly, I go by vibes more than anything. Where I'm just like, it feels right to me. I have this imaginary picture in my mind, and I'm like, these are the colors that kind of fit that. And then I let the canvas go where it wants. It's not like it's hammered down. I don't have to hit it exactly on the head. It just has to look right in front of my eyes, and then I'm happy. But what about you? How do you choose your colors?
Sometimes I do use, you can go to a website which you've got one color, let's say. You go to the website, stick down the hex code, and then it's like, oh, these are complementary, these are things, these are this. If I'm trying to make it match logistically, I'll go that way. Otherwise, I'll be like, well, I like these two. But my sister has taught me to check things out in gray now, though, because I realized I would put them in... They would be the same tone. So they would kind of blend in rather than stand out. It wouldn't be if it was gray or black and white, it wouldn't be dark enough that you could tell that this color and this color is. Oh, do I?
At least for me.
Oh, is it you? Is it me?
Oh, darn. Did we lose Ray?
No, am I here? Am I still there?
There you are. Yeah, you came back. You're back.
Right, cool. So restarting the internet didn't seem to help, I don't think. But yes, I'm back.
It might be my internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. That was. I was like, we may have lost Ray. And it's like, no, it's me.
Oh,
no. Darn it. Well, I'm back. Hi.
It's funny. We could hear you perfectly, though.
Oh, that's good. I'll just keep talking.
Okay.
Technical issues abound. It's always fun. But yeah, so you're talking about grayscale and using that for your. Are you figuring out your values, or is that really helping with color?
When I'm trying to specifically, it's funny, I tend to do stuff in flat color now without shadows, so I don't have to think too much about it. But but when I'm trying, I will actually put stuff in grayscale, make sure that there's a dark gray, there's a light gray, and different enough.
Nice.
That I can throw a real color on top. But we've got some stuff in the chat for you. So Anthony says, you say you pick colors that are next to each other. Are you worried that those colors might blend into each other or won't have the contrast you're looking for? To double down on that, Anna, could you give us an example of how you would do it? Sometimes being able to see along with your explanation might help.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, honestly, we have it right in front of us. As far as I usually go is like, okay, so say we're starting with orange, which is a natural place to start with pumpkins. Then we would go red, because you see this slider, obviously, like all these colors next to each other on the color wheel. We could go orange, red, and then we could go next to the red and be more purple. We could go like that. Or we could go, let's start with orange again. We could go the opposite direction. We could go more yellow. And then we could go all the way to green, or we could stay in the yellow-green kind of family. And those can kind of go together. So when colors are next to each other on the color wheel, I just feel like they naturally work together. Blending together, that is where I really heavily rely on values. So if you had orange on orange and you're like, these are totally just going to blend together, changing the value of that orange can definitely completely change. Obviously, like you could do an entire monochromatic piece and have it be absolutely stunning, all one color. So it does not have to be that they're different colors to separate. However, different colors can tell different stories. So if you have like an orange next to a purple, what does that say to your mind rather than orange next to orange? If you want something to be the absolute focal point of a piece and a lot of your colors are very similar, adding a slightly different color can make the whole difference of where your eye goes first. So it's all just power. Color is power. We can tell so many different stories with it. We can lead the eye around the page. We can manipulate our audience into looking exactly where we want.
Actually, on that color point, I noticed while you were moving the horizontal, nope, the vertical thingamabobby, sometimes you would click diagonally and select a new color that way.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that, or is it on?
So again, this is very much based on intuition for me. I just kind of gravitate towards certain tendencies. So when I make a color darker, I usually make it slightly more saturated. But then I went to the purples and I was like, I just don't like that purple right now. So I went less saturated. Honestly, I can't tell you if that's based on years of knowledge that are just so stuck in my head.
Or it's just kind of coming out in a different way.
I felt like it. But there are certain rules that I kind of stick to, like I really like colorful shadow. I don't like going black when it's darker, where it's just like, oh yeah, it's dark, so I have to put this purple. To me, that is... it sometimes can sap the piece of a lot of life and juiciness. Like I really want juicy colors, which a lot of times that comes from a relationship with saturation and desaturation. I find the juiciness comes from like having certain areas saturated, but not all of it saturated, which is a journey that I am currently on because, I love color. I love juicy colors. But I don't want my pieces to just be like, Lisa Frank in your face. That's like, it's got a place in a time. I totally understand that. But for me, I want to find the balance of saturation and desaturation. So that's what I'm working on.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for the questions and the comments. One thing I did want to highlight is that I have added a new layer above my orange pumpkins, and the oranges are drifting into purples and reds and stuff like that. But I want even more variety of color, which is where I bring a soft light layer that is also clipped onto this whole little grouping right here. And if we turn it to normal, you'll see some of these colors are whack. They are all over the place. There's like blues on top of here. A lot of them are still like in the purples, but some of them are really desaturated. But the second I turn it to soft light, it's like a variety of oranges have popped out. They're all just slightly changing that color. And I can turn down the opacity even more so that it's only very slightly tinting the colors that we have. And in that way, it just adds a little bit more depth and a little bit more variety to these pumpkins. And that's really the goal I have right now.
Amazing. Jake and Anthony both said, color is power. I like that.
Color is power. I didn't even mention, it's so much about persuading your audience to also feel something. It's not just about like, oh, have them look at the focal point. It's about them feeling either like a time or a place or a something from this piece. I was watching a little animation on Instagram that an artist did the other day. I really wish I could pull their name out of my head, but I can't. But they just did a really simple little, it was a piece of leaves and they were being rained on. And they had like a little bend when the drop would hit it, and then the drop would roll down and it would go down. And all the colors, all the motion, everything about it made me hear rain and feel like I was in a deep foresty area. And it was just like, it was just a visual. It was so beautiful and it transported me. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I want for my work, is to feel like when you look at it, you can feel something. Like it takes you to a place or it makes you just have a reaction of some sort.
That sounds like a beautiful goal to me, really. A creative desire. Oh, also, PJ had a question. Do you print a sample before you upload?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you print a sample before you upload?
I have not done that, but my printer is out of ink.
Okay.
So what do you think? Would you do a print sample? Because one of the things you have to consider is that each printer has its own profile and ink and all that stuff. Like it's very complex when you get into the world of printing. I'm kind of fast and loose with it personally. What my goal is to make it such a strong piece, and usually that comes down to values mostly, that even if it were printed horribly, it would still look like what I want it to look like. Because I've done some subtle coloring and values in the past that have not turned out, where it's like, oh no, the print made it all kind of one mush. So I really look out for that in my printed pieces now. And it also just is what it is. Sometimes it's not a great print, and you reprint it or ask for some kind of, emotional recompense for what you've gone through.
Lauren said printing is so complicated.
It really is. It's a vast hole. If you ever want to get into printing, there's just so much information about it. But it's worth it if you're going to print for your life, I really am trying to learn more about it as I go. It's just sometimes you have to ask yourself, like, where are you putting your skill points? Like, where's the skill tree building?
Thank you.
So
let's be honest, it's all a side quest or a mini game here or there or something.
Absolutely. Oh, it's all side quests. I think of that every time there's a cat in the hallway. I'm like, I have to pet that cat because this is a very important side quest right now. And I get mental health points.
Oh, mental health points. Okay, I like that. Yay. Passive points. We did it.
Yes.
Alessandra said, I've been printing my stickers at home and cut them myself. It was fun in the beginning.
In the beginning, exactly. No, I know your stickers very well, Alessandra. And yes, they were beautiful, but I understand exactly how much work that takes. We've actually, some of my art friends and I have like gotten together on nights and been like, all right, we're all going to cut the stickers for the convention. And everybody sits around the table with scissors and they just cut stickers all night long. And honestly, it's fun because you're doing it as a group, but doing it as a solo artist is like, is this my job now? I don't make art. I just cut the art. But it's an option. It's not necessarily the worst.
And another comment, Kendall says, as someone who used to work in a print lab, there's so many things to think about.
Kendall, yes, the black hole. And also, if you work at a print lab, I'm sure you learn a ton. So now you know exactly how much you don't know. Oh, isn't that always the thing? Ugh. Okay, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna start putting faces on these guys, and I want them to be bright. So I'm acting like there's light from within. That's the idea on these jack-o'-lanterns. Some are, dark and you can see the edge of the pumpkin and stuff. I'm just going to do a face of shapes. That's the idea here.
Already, I'm mesmerized. I was going to say something, but I was just kind of like... Because already you can kind of feel a bit of warmth from that one.
Yeah, right? Like, well, adding faces to anything, it just comes to life. We look for faces everywhere.
We really do. We really do. Oh, Kendall said, I just did stickers the other week for Camp MoGraph, which was fun, but my printer didn't like it.
Oh, rough. How many did you do? Because that sounds like I don't know about the Camp MoGraph, how much or how many people there are. Are you trying to get one for everyone? Is that the goal?
Oh, and Abram just popped in. Welcome, Abram. They said, I'm learning a lot from you guys. Love the show.
Oh, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
You and me both, Abram. Trust me. I'm peeping. I'm peeping on this. I'm in.
Do you feel like you learn most by watching or by like following tutorials or what? What do you think?
I think I've discovered I'm a kinetic learner.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I think that's why whenever I do things or I teach stuff, I tend to make it like a mini game. So when people are learning, they have to finish the game. That way you get to learn and then do the other half of it.
I love that.
Like when you're in the watching half, as a creative, I think all of us here get this feel. As a creative, when you sit down and you see something, the ideas, they come together. You're not really sure what you're looking for yet, but you sit there and you're like, and it's all just being absorbed in until it blends itself up into something amazing. You're like, let me go try this.
Yes, absolutely. There is definitely, I think, a difference between like inspiration and like learning. I mean, they can be one and the same for sure. But sometimes you just see somebody making something and get like so jazzed that you're like, I need to make something right now. Like, I gotta go. I gotta make the thing.
So true. Like sometimes when I see animations, I'm like, haha, let me put down whatever I'm doing.
That's break time for that.
Yep. And we got some more comments on the chat. Kendall said it clogged and lost all the yellow at one point. Thankfully, it actually made my sisters look cooler, so I actually used the mistake to my advantage.
Happy accidents. We love them.
Kendall also said it wasn't too many. I made like 30 to 40, but inky laminated like 20.
Oh my goodness. Inky laminated. What do you think that means? Is that...
Kendall said typing on the iPad is hard. Okay, so...
Yeah.
The fingers and thumbs. I'm not sure.
Only laminated like 20. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So laminated, I am so curious about this. So I know lamination usually is like as a two-sided thing. Do you laminate the whole thing and then cut it out and then like part of it falls off? I'm curious, but anyways, it's fine. But good for you. I think that 30 is a large number. I'm like, maybe I could do 5.
Abraham just said, the stream came at the right time. I'm illustrating some pumpkins myself.
Oh my gosh, perfect. Well, this is the season. I hope that everybody at least has 1 pumpkin this month. And then next month, a lot more pumpkins.
Yeah. All the pumpkins. Nothing to do with Christmas, please. Because I've noticed it always comes. I saw something in a shop last month. Yeah.
I believe it. So we went to Costco, saw a bunch of cute Halloween stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this season. It's so fun to see all the outfits and things. We went the next week and it was Christmas stuff. I was like, who has time to get the Halloween costumes? I imagine kids who are walking by them, their parents are like, oh, we'll get it next week. And then the next week it's Christmas. And it's like, what am I going to go as Santa?
Like 2-3 months away. Also, PJ has some questions. No, comments. And we do have a question.
Yes.
PJ said, I print samples because blue and green are the most difficult for RGB and CMYK. So so then if the colors are not close to expected, you figure out how to tweak it for a better output.
Oh, there you go. Some wisdom. Oh my goodness. See, those are the kind of things that I need to like have written down, like right next to me when I'm preparing stuff for printing.
A little post-it note next to the printer or next to the side of the computer, be like, remember, this one thing that even though you use it all the time, but you don't remember it. So here it is.
Seriously. Well, there's nothing worse than what I've worked on client books. So this is like for a publishing house. It's a big deal. Everybody's like putting their effort and work towards it for months. And then when you get the print in your hand and you're like, it's so much darker than I wanted it to be. This is why now I want to ask every like publishing house that I'm working with, could you please send me a sample before it goes to full print? Because I need to okay these colors and values. Like I have to.
It's the experience and the learning ground, huh?
Indeed.
PJ also said CMYK to CMYK is magic, but when the provider wants RGB, you give them RGB.
Indeed.
And Anthony had a question.
Oh yeah, Anthony, I got an answer.
Who or what are your inspirations, and how do you stay motivated to create?
Oh, okay, so two big questions. So who and what? Who is going to be a lot of different artists. I'll name some off at the top of my head that are recent, like, inspirations. Maud Behan. Should I write these down? Because I feel like it's going to be hard to like get the spelling and everything. So there's Maud Behan. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly. Isabel Arsenault. Oh no. Arsenal. Let's see. I always love. It's Hugh Emily Hughes. Emily. I'm just now realizing these are all female artists.
What do you call it? Coincidence?
I think not. I do. I love female artists. Woohoo, female artists. There are so many though. So many that I just nom inspiration off of. There's one that I've been following on Instagram and I cannot remember her name. Darn it. But there are just so many wonderful artists out there that I really get a lot of inspiration from. And like we were talking about earlier, when I see their art, I start to like vibrate with excitement. I'm like, yes, I want to create. So yeah, that's something that there are people that inspire me. You also said what, which nature always has to be a big one on there. I think that anything in the natural world can get me excited to create. And part of that is just going out and seeing it myself. I find that pictures can be really exciting, but there is nothing like being out in the thing, like going on a hike, just immersing yourself in it. The reason that I was talking about that piece earlier that really made me feel something, the rain on the leaves, is something that I've experienced my entire life because I am from Oregon. Raining in leaves is where I exist. So it's something that like when I'm really familiar with it and I see it reflected in artwork, it just touches my soul. I'm like, yes, that is home. That is everything I love. And a lot of that comes from nature every single time. I'm just like, even if I just recently moved to Sacramento, even if I'm not super familiar with the type of nature around here, it's a lot more dry, it's a lot more arid. There is so much beauty in it and it becomes home. You know, if you spend enough time in it, it just feels like this is my new skill tree unlock, where it's like, this is my new home, this is my new thing that my heart will be touched by when I see it reflected in artwork. What was the other question from him?
The other part, also that was a beautiful answer, by the way. The other part, how do you stay motivated to be creative?
Motivation, that is a tricky one. Ray, do you have an answer before I answer?
Oh,
you're like, pressure on me now.
Wow, you know, I was just here to regurgitate, but okay. I'd say that it seems to come in two different ways. Sometimes when you're looking up inspiration, if you're not looking it up at the right time, your inspiration might end up becoming the thing that stops you from doing it if you've accidentally compared yourself. But if you're not in that state and you're able to see it as inspiration, normally finding the muse, the thing that makes you create. So for your case, Anna, it sounds like going back to nature. My case, as an animator, I use music. I like things that dance. So yes. I would probably be around music that would allow my brain to create an image, and that desire to see that come out would be the drive to do the thing.
Absolutely.
I don't think we ever really get away from the desire to create. It's always there. Even if you feel like you're in the art block stage, it's still there though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're an artist no matter where or what you're doing, right?
Absolutely.
It's like who you are rather than what you're doing. And I definitely feel like when you lose motivation, you can kind of lose that sense of this is who I am. And you feel more like I'm not creating. So who am I? And like, what's my worth? Which is the trap, man.
Then I have a question for you, Anna.
Yeah.
Have you found I noticed when I was talking to some people when they had a creative dip, it's normally related to the fact that they haven't made something for themselves in a while.
One for, what was it? One for the meal, one for the real.
I've not heard that.
That was, oh golly. Oh, now I'm just forgetting everybody's names, but there was a wonderful creator who said that. So I totally agree with that. You have to feed yourself, your soul, it's just got to be a regular part of your routine. I have been lucky enough to have a work setup that really encourages that. Things like doing Adobe Live, like I am so lucky to get to do this for work because literally it's like, what do you want to draw? I'm like, pumpkins. They're like, cool. All right. So I count my lucky stars every single day, but also when you don't have the ability to work it into your life, like organically, you got to force it,
yeah.
Which is really hard to do. It's kind of like telling people who overwork themselves, you have to put on your calendar that you're going on vacation. No matter whether you're going somewhere physically, you have to put it in to just keep yourself healthy. I know plenty of people who will plan their entire lives to a T and never give themselves a break on their calendar. And it's like, you have to have that. You agree, like a functioning human being has to have a break, right?
Absolutely.
But so many people resist that. And I think that is one of the key factors for motivation, as well as varying your projects, the types of projects that you take and that you give yourself. So if you're giving yourself a break from work, but you still want to create something, don't make it the same artwork that you're doing for your job work. So say I'm doing a children's book. I mean, I love doing a children's book. It's really fun in a lot of ways, but it is also work. And when you're doing that kind of work, if I'm doing a children's book about animals, I don't want to draw animals in my free time. I want to do something very different and maybe in a different medium and maybe in a different place than I usually do. All those differences make it so that my brain says this isn't work. This is something different. And that's the key, I think, for me to keep motivation.
We've got a few more comments and a couple more questions, but I did want to add on to what you said because I thought that was fantastic and reminded me of what my sister would tell me, because you have to be a good boss to yourself, especially when you're freelancing, is that actually as creatives, we need the break because we only create in the emptiness. If you don't have a spot to be empty, how can you create?
That's brilliant. Oh my gosh, your sister. I love that. Is she also an artist?
Yeah, she's also an Adobe Liver. What?
Oh my gosh, who? I need to know.
Storm Stewart. She's an illustrator. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. The universes are connecting. Worlds are colliding.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, everybody just say Storm in the chat. Yeah. That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I love it.
And some questions and comments. Abram said, do you like to draw the text yourself or use already existing ones?
Text.
So if you have to do text in your art, because I think Abram just noticed the text you put at the bottom, do you tend to draw it yourself?
So if I'm doing any lettering work, I haven't done lettering on a formal project because I do not consider myself a lettering artist or a book designer or anything like that. Like there are individual careers that are for anything related to typeface or lettering. However, in my personal work, I really enjoy it. I took a class from Shauna, oh gosh, I'm going to butcher her last name, Shauna Lynn Penchesney, also known as Shauna Parmesan. And she is a fantastic teacher. If you ever find her classes, I believe she has them on Etsy. And whatchamacallit, that was a wonderful lettering class. It was really a lot about illustration, honestly, because it's a lot about like blocking out balance of things and really creating like variety without losing readability and things like that. So I enjoy doing lettering, but more as a novice than a professional. But that's just me.
Jack, Wade, and CJ have all just popped a pumpkin in.
Pumpkin. Club Wade in the house. What's up?
Good to see you, Jack. Welcome, Wade. CJ.
Hey, Jack.
And Anthony said and slash asked, exploring is part of the creative adventure, especially in a brand new place. So do you
Absolutely.
find...
Yeah, having just moved to Sacramento, I think that's what Anthony's referring to. I think that in certain ways it's been it's like up and down for my art side of myself having moved, because obviously there's a ton of new input. There's so much new stuff to enjoy and explore, and yet I'm tired all the time. And it just feels kind of exhausting. And part of that, I think, is your brain taking things in, and it needs time to kind of churn on it. It's not necessarily that like you should expect yourself to instantly be ready to paint or draw or whatever. But that being said, I do fully expect to like appreciate this place through artwork. I don't think it's necessarily that like I have to, but like I have to. Do you know what I mean? Like there's no outside pressure, but I do feel like as a creative person in a place, you kind of just have to reflect your experiences through your artwork at some point. And so when that time comes, I think I'm going to paint this place in many ways and forms. I mean, I've already drawn the cats that I live with, which is a very big part of the move. Is I've not had pets for many years, and suddenly I have 3 cats in the house, and I'm just like so happy. I love animals. Ray, do you have any pets?
Used to 2 cats.
Oh,
so I'm all about it. All the animals, everything. I used to want as a pet shark, to be honest. So all the animals, all the things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, why has that not happened? Come on.
You know, one day. I'm still thinking about it. Cody's also joined the Pumpkin Gang. So hey, Cody, Wade, CJ, Kendall. All got little pumpkins.
Hey, and Cody is going to be streaming later today with Val on Juxtapaint. Have you seen this? They have a new show together.
Oh, congratulations, you two. I'll be
awesome. There. Yeah, 2 artists, 2 different styles painting the same kind of thing. And it's just like,
oh, I have seen, I don't think I knew the name of it. I have seen Cody do like not a versus, that's definitely DTM's bit, but like a draw this in your own style type thing. That's absolutely really cool.
Yeah.
Lauren said, Anna, living the dream.
Living the dream. Yeah. Thank you.
Anthony said, count all the small wins as well.
Absolutely. Every single win you possibly can. Count it.
And Lauren said, these artists have beautiful work regarding the people you noted were your inspirations. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for looking them up, because I feel like we should all share inspirations and artists and all that stuff all the time. It should flow like water. We should all be looking at each other's stuff.
Oh, absolutely. We're all in it together.
Yes. And part of that is just being in this like streaming community. Whoa, I keep hitting this thing. Sorry. But yeah, the streaming community, especially on Behance, it just feels like that is what we're doing, is like looking at each other's work and being a part of a community. So you're already doing it. Great job, everybody in the chat.
And Kendall said, I recharged my motivation at camp, but then I called, oh no, babe, I'm so sorry, Kendall. Kendall got down with the sickness, and I've been stuck recovering. Hope I can get creative stuff soon.
Well, at least you're down with the sickness.
Mm-hmm. Live vicariously through Anna.
But yeah, I am really sorry, Kendall.
Not
darn it.
Sad. MCA. We won't get caught. It's okay.
Well, we just, try.
Yeah.
You never know if you don't try.
Anthony said, don't just schedule a break, just take one.
Just take it. Take it. Yeah, I totally agree. If you can take a break, the reason I say schedule is because a lot of people overschedule themselves. That's at least my experience of humans. Do I sound like an alien yet?
No, you know what? But it's true, though. Kendall said we harvested the first of our unplanned garden squash the other day.
Ooh, that's so exciting. Unplanned harvest. That's hilarious. The whoopsie garden.
The whoopsie garden. Bliss just jumped in to say, de-lurking for only a moment to join in with the pumpkins. The Pumpkin Gang on the Behance is going strong.
Heck yeah. Pumpkin Gang ruling this town.
Yes.
Are you guys gonna carve jack-o'-lanterns this year? Anybody thinking of doing that?
I don't think our family has ever done that. We're in a kind of weird case that we're a gaming family, so we'll probably just play scary games together.
That is fantastic. Okay, great answer. Yeah, I don't know if we'll do it this year just because this is a new place and I don't know how easy pumpkins are to get a hold of, which is silly. But there's this place in Sacramento called Apple Hill, if anybody knows about that. It's quite famous apparently, and very popular in fall. They say like there's nowhere to park in October because everybody's going there for pumpkins. Anyways, I would love to go and get some pumpkins and then roast the seeds. That's my favorite part, is roasted pumpkin seeds, especially fresh ones, are the best thing in the world. Yum, yum, yum.
Yes. And CJ said there's got to be a pumpkin carving sim you can play, Pixie. If there isn't, I'll make it.
I like that attitude. I'll make it if it's not there. Boom.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just giving a little, what do you call these? Stumpy guys.
Stalks?
Little
stalk
stalks.
thing?
Yeah. Just coming out wherever I feel. And these are kind of secondary. I can get to them if I want to, but I want to make sure that we get to some cool stuff. So I'm going to kind of zoom through this and then we can get to other aspects of these pumpkins.
Awesome. While you're doing that, I have plenty more comments for you. So Kendall said, so many pumpkins and acorn squash coming.
Ooh, yes. Acorn squash. Delicious.
Lauren said, I share you all the time.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Lauren.
Bliss said, I'm going back to the kitchen. Just join in for a second pumpkin.
Bye.
Ryan's just jumped in. Welcome, Ryan. For those that have just jumped in and are wondering, oh, these pumpkins. Who's this lovely person on the screen right there? That's Anna. That's Anna Daviscourt. Today, we are joined by Anna Daviscourt, who, if you missed my earlier intro, the whimsical children's book illustrator, who's here to teach us how to make some really cool, cute stickers in a really simplistic manner, actually, while still able to bring out a sensation, a feel, and a vibe to match with your audience, to give them more than just a pretty picture to look at. You want to give them the 4D experience is what you're getting.
The feels.
Oh, yeah.
That was lovely. Thank you for that.
Yeah, welcome.
A little synopsis.
And Jake Green said, I definitely will regarding the pumpkins, but I have no specific plans for the jack-o'-lanterns.
Well, feel free to take any of these face designs and use them on your jack-o'-lanterns if you would like. And I would definitely like to do a pumpkin. Honestly, one of the things that I feel tempted to do every single time I carve a pumpkin is go really detailed with it and do like layers and stuff. Have you ever done that? Ooh. Well, you said you weren't a pumpkin carving family. But yeah, you can get really detailed if you get like a paring knife and go to town. I've done like full faces with like, I don't know, mouth open teeth kind of stuff. And like, that's really fun to me, like sculpting all the little bits of it. But I've never shared any of that. It was always just for family. So maybe this year I'll go crazy and put it up on something.
That does sound amazing. And we would love to see this. Thank you.
By the way, I'm adding little lines to these guys because I like, detailing and everything. I don't want to just have them be flat paint. We're going to add a little bit of what would you call it? Form lighting, just the tiniest bit after this. But one of the things that really drives form home is contour lines, and pumpkins have them naturally built in. So I can just kind of show you like, oh yeah, down here. I mean, you can do it stylized and just have them be like straight flat lines, and that's super cute. But then also you can bend it at the bottom or the top and show that kind of change of form.
Definitely looking forward to that. Anna, I have a question. Can you move your brushes tab slightly to the left so we can still see your layers as
Absolutely.
well?
Yes.
Thank you. Always lovely to see the whole shebang. Just in case you've got like the soft light on the layer and we don't know that yet. So that would be really cool.
Well, we've got the soft light underneath this lines layer. So thank you for mentioning that. Because I did make a new layer for the lines, and I have the stalks on their own layer, and then I have the faces on their own layer. The face layer is kind of important. I'll show you that in a second, why it's important to have that one on its own layer. All the rest could be completely wild. You could go wild with it, but the face layer is kind of important, so just keep that in mind.
Okay, and a few more comments for you. Jake and CJ saying, love these faces. These pumpkin faces are bringing joy.
Oh,
Oh,
yay.
joy bringing.
Joy bringing. They done be bringing it. They done brought it.
Oh, yes. PJ said, got 2 weeks starting next week. Sounds like a creative endeavor is in tow.
Ooh, that's cool.
And Kendall said, I'm going to carve the one big orange pumpkin we grew accidentally. We have about 12 little white acorn squash. I don't know what we plan to do with them, though.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of acorn squash. Love it.
And Wendwa said, the details are really giving the illustrations life.
Thank you. Yeah, I do think that this is the point at which, when I was drawing them, when I was practicing this, I felt like, okay, I'm kind of getting it, because you can go a lot of different directions with pumpkins. You can go like photorealistic, you could go really stylized, and it still reads as pumpkin because they're a very unique thing. And especially when you just like make it orange, put a stalk on it, boom, pumpkin. So you can really go wild with whatever kind of render style you enjoy.
And I have a question now. Now, bearing in mind or regarding the contour lines that you're giving us, contour. You've got some ones that match the same color as the eyes and the mouth. Is that decidedly for your light, just to kind of make it stay the same but still give it a light angle? Was that on purpose, or could you have picked another light color?
Well, you're talking about the faces?
Oh, the light lines for the lines going up, the grooves on the pumpkin.
Oh, okay. So those are like leftover from the background color, right? So yeah, that's one of the reasons that I love using a background color. And okay, here's a cool thing. You can go to the background color that I have everything clipped to, this bottom one, and you can use a hue saturation layer, toss it right on top of there. It's automatically clipped because it's between layers that are clipped to each other. And then we can go and just like have whatever color as the background. And it's so fun to play with because some of them are like really unexpected and they can work where it's like, oh, that's cool. And this is kind of the, we were talking about analogous color palettes before. This I would consider analogous, where they're very close on the color wheel and they feel cohesive in that way. But sometimes it can get a little bit boring, so you kind of want a little pop of something different. So if you just put like a blue or like an aqua or something back there, boom, suddenly it's very different and contrasty and kind of pops a lot. And then you can go through, and if you don't like certain areas or you do like certain areas, you can save them or cover them or whatever. It's really up to you as the creative liberty folk. So
that's really cool. And it also is a testament to the brush you're using, because you've got that
the like texture to it. Yes. And that is one of my favorite brushes. It's called it's from Kyle's Paint Box, and it's called the Bristle Bomb brush. It is so fun. I love it. And it's got that, like the quality you're talking about where it's got texture on the edge, but it's also got transfer, which means that it's somewhat see-through based on your pressure and how many layers of it you do over each other. And that creates a lot of variety with that background color coming out.
That's fantastic. Because my first question when I realized I was hosting you was, what brushes do you use?
What brushes do you use? It's always the brush question.
So thank you. Kendall said, the best, but I still don't know half of what we grew. I think we have non-yellow spaghetti squash, maybe melons. We'll have a fun harvest, but definitely a happy accident.
Happy accidents all around. That's what we love, honestly. All right. I'm going to do something cool here. So pay attention.
Glasses. I don't have any glasses on, so just like, okay, glasses are on. I'm ready.
All right. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. This is our face layer. So you can see that. Boom, faces. All right. So we've got a duplicate of it right above it. And I'm going to, I think I'll go to filter and I'm going to go blur, Gaussian blur. And we're just going to, create a little bit of a halo effect around there. And then we can go through all these different layers, or whatever you call these, blend modes, and pick ones that feel like they are giving the right vibe to this, because I want to feel like these are glowing. So that's the fun part of this. I think our hard light is the one for it. And we can, of course, change the color of the faces, and that will all affect the hard light over it as well. So say we throw a hue saturation layer on here, we can make it lighter, or we can make it more saturated, or we can even change the color. There's so many options. Whoa.
I love that it actually kind of makes it feel like it's glowing already. You know, like the glow in the dark kind of, it gives that vibe.
Yeah, and you could create an animation this way. You could just have like the different, what do you call them? You're the animation person. What is it called? Frames?
Do you mean the different keyframes?
Yeah. Well, does different frames be different colors? Like it could phase through the different like glow of it, and then it would feel like it's kind of flickering. Like,
oh yeah, you could just animate the transparency or animate the opacity if you're just using After Effects. So yeah, actually, that's fantastic.
You got the words. Good job.
Thank you. I scanned deep. I was like,
let's figure this out. All right, so the next step I wanted to play with is having ghost buddies with these jack-o'-lanterns possibly. So let's try out, I think hard light would be another way of going about this. What if we had just like ghosts going in and out of their mouth and eyes?
Spoopy. Like, feel like I need to like have like a flapping noise going around. Just like
yes, create sound effects for us, please.
Okay.
So you guys can see with hard light, it really just takes whatever is behind it into account. So you're seeing the different layers of the face, which again, this is an important reason to have the face on its own layer, because if I select that, I can paint within it only, and it will keep the brush marks inside of the face. Or I could select the opposite and erase out where oh wait, this is the side I do want. Boom, erase out where you don't want it. And it'll have that kind of clean edge that follows the face. So it really looks like the ghost is going in and out of the pumpkin.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And everybody more comments for you. Oh, everybody does. Especially these cute little ones. Lauren said, oh, little ghosts are cute.
Adorable.
Kendall said, my blend mode class will resume when I feel better. I was so close to being done with the class.
Oh, so sad. Yeah, Kendall is making where is that gonna live, Kendall? A class that's all about blend modes and what each one actually does. Because I feel like most people just kind of noodle with it and they figure out what they like, but not necessarily know like the principles behind every blend mode.
Sounds like the color and the color theory thing again. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, feel it out.
PJ said, press the V key, then shift plus or minus to scroll through the blend modes. Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Oh, that's cool.
All these shortcuts.
Thank you. Yes, shortcuts are amazing. Also, I used a shortcut earlier that was useful. So when I have the face layer selected, if I want to select the opposite selection, so say like there's inside the face and outside the face. So if I want outside the face, I do Control-Shift-I, and that's the opposite. And boom, now you can see the dancing ants all around the edge of the piece. So it's the face isn't selected, it's everything else.
And for those that don't know how you auto-selected the shape to begin with, can you?
Oh, yeah. I hover over the layer that I want to select and press Control. And then if you click on the thumbnail of it, you can select whatever is on that layer. Super useful. And then to deselect it, you can do Control or Command D. So all these hotkeys, I know it's a lot when it's thrown at you, but I promise you, if you just implement one at a time, your workflow will go so much faster and you will feel so much more comfortable. And that really is like riding a bike. I remember I worked in Fresco for a very long time and I kind of didn't touch Photoshop as much. And when I came back to Photoshop and I had my Cintiq set up and everything, I told James, who's my partner, who's also an artist, and he was like, oh yeah, so how was Photoshop today? And I was like, it's like home. Like I came back and I'm welcome.
Aww.
It was nice. But yeah, it really pays to put in the time and like work on those things. You don't have to know everything at once. Just do one shortcut or hotkey at a time.
That is a very, very good tips, because I think people sometimes we forget how we learn. which is one thing at a
Absolutely.
time after several hours. So
Well, it's this impatience with yourself, right? Like, oh, why doesn't my brain just absorb everything all at once? And it's like, well, that's just not how brains work.
yes.
Sorry, but I know you gotta wait.
Otherwise, our baby stage would have been very different. It wouldn't have taken us years. We would have it instantly. Kind of shocking.
Yeah, definitely. Shock to the system.
Oh, yes. Kendall said there's 30 blend modes, and I think most people use like 5 on average. So lots of material. It's been a lot of filming.
Wow, that is a lot. Yeah, 30 blend modes. I cannot believe there's so many. How did they get so many? Somewhere out there, there's somebody who's like, I'm going to create another blend mode.
Goodness.
I'm going to make a super long ghost.
Are you going to make ghosts for each of the pumpkins?
Maybe. There's another thing that I wanted to play with. Let's try it on this little guy. I was playing with the idea, and I don't know if it will come out the way I was imagining it, but let's just try it. I'm going to go make another hard light layer, and I'm going to make it a really, I think, an orange. Let's see. Yeah. And just play with the idea of flames coming out of their holes.
Okay.
You know, flaming holes.
In context. It's perfectly normal.
And just playing around with the idea of that, not necessarily saying like the whole idea. I was actually watching a video this morning that was saying like you have to be okay with failure to make art, because art is about playing, and playing is about, you know, not caring if you fail. And somebody said, what was it? Yeah, every time that somebody says I am a creative, I just say I have a healthy relationship with failure.
Yes, as you should. I can't remember which artist said it, one of the greats, and they said you have like at least 20,000 bad drawings in you, so get to drawing.
20,000. Hot damn. Just a few.
Just a few.
Well, and what is bad? That's another thing, because I think a lot of people feel like all the stuff that they make isn't as good as what they see other people making, so they consider it bad. And that's like, you got to see the inherent value in your stuff, man.
The mistake of the comparison, because by the time you're looking at somebody, you're usually looking at their 75,000th hour. You've only done 100. You can't possibly. And a lot of artists feel that way about their own work. They just feel like, well, maybe you love it, but I don't. And it's universal, true. Man. It's just like true.
And nobody's happy with their work, but that shouldn't be a downer. It's more of like maybe that's the reason that we feel that way, is so that we never rest. We never feel like, okay, I did the thing and now I stop.
It's true. If we actually thought it was a certain goal and we achieved it, then we would do what? Nothing? No.
Yeah. Like I did the thing and now I have fear that the next thing won't be as good.
Oh my goodness. I remember I was doing a job and I met an artist. It was an older man. And he showed me a picture and I was like, oh, that's a lovely photo. Looked exactly like a photo. He said, oh, no, I drew it. It's like, oh. It's like, oh.
Hot dang.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, you know, I'm not really satisfied with it. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, I see. So we're never.
No, there's no winning. There's never
any satisfaction, even if it looks exactly like a realist, like no one could tell the difference.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is like I wonder sometimes if the satisfaction is why we do it, or is it an itch to stop feeling a certain way, where it's like, I have this thing in my head and it only exists there. I have to get it out.
Okay, like so that was going to be my question to you, Anna. So what do you feel? What's your one? Is that your reason?
Oh, the reason I create. Oh gosh. Yeah, sometimes I think it's an itch that you got to scratch. That's the, like, when I see other people's artwork and I get so excited that I need to create something. But more and more, I think I think we go through different stages all the time. As my career has developed, I think one of the things that makes me keep creating is the feeling that I want to leave something behind. I want to like make something that I not necessarily am proud of in the moment, but I'm proud of in retrospect, where I'm like, this is a collection of me. This is what's like, if you had no idea who I was as a person, you've never met me, but you saw my work, you would see a part of me. That kind of feeling of like, this is what I'm leaving.
That's beautiful.
Well, trying to articulate it is difficult, I think, but hopefully it makes sense. What about you, Ray?
Oh, it's kind of a bit of both. I think it's gotten to the point now where I realize that if we don't do the things that appear, they stay there. They don't disappear. They only go once you do them. And you'll have a new desire that you'll want to create, or a new passion project that you want to do, which is great because there'll always be one every other 10 seconds. But because you've not finished the earlier one, now you've got 70. So it's nice to like, okay, let me just do this a little bit and do it, put it down, do it, put it down. But I think I've always wanted to make things dance and come to life. So as long as I can do that, every time a new idea comes, I feel like, but your one sounds very much more eternal. I like the answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't mean to make it sound like my work is always going to be around and everybody's always going to see it. But I mean, that's out of my hands. That's none of my business. It's just, you know, what happens afterward, whatever.
Everything you do, I've noticed, especially as Lauren is a really good example of this. And there's lots of people that tend to lurk as well that we don't meet, haven't met, probably won't. But because you've put yourself out there and you've done what interested you, you've helped somebody else to also do the thing that's interested them. So
that is the best thing I could possibly hope for. Yeah, it's so much beyond what I would ever imagine, though. Like, that is something that I would never expect from my work to inspire somebody else. Like, I think that's probably the best part of social media that I've ever experienced, is the feeling that I'm giving back what I get from it, where it's like feeling the itch to create. I want, like, if somebody else feels that from my work, that is mind blowing. Like, how am I doing that? But yeah, it's another reminder to reach out to people who really, like, you enjoy their work or they inspire you in some way, and just let them know, because seriously, it makes my day every single time. So thank you, Lauren, for being really sweet and being like, and congratulations on your book deal, by the way. That was like amazing to read. This was all in YouTube comments, by the way, or chat, I should say. But yeah, that kind of stuff is mind blowing.
And as a reminder for the chat, we do have about 14 minutes left, I'll say. I know. The time has just zipped. It's just zipped. But I've got a few more comments, so Anna has a chance to wrap up what she'd like to wrap up, because I know there's still a bit more that we need to see and how it works within that sticker app. Kendall said, there's more in After Effects and a different photo program that has an extra 5 I just ignored for this class. And bonus class is already queued up with other blend modes not in Photoshop.
Amazing. Wow.
Fully stacked. And Lauren said, you have completely and utterly inspired me. And now I'm doing what I love to do the most. And it gives me purpose. And it's put me in such a beautiful path. I was shocked, but I've learned so much from your illustration-wise and so much graphic design-wise from studying that I'm feeling confident. And your community on Discord will surely answer my questions if I have any. Otherwise, clearly, Lauren's able to get to you too. So.
Oh, you can get to me. But yeah, that is amazing. Thank you so much for like saying the kind words. Oh gosh. Okay, now I'm just like exhausted from good feelings.
I think that's the best kind of exhaustion.
Yeah, it's so funny though. I have a really weird reaction to compliments where I'm like, ow. It hurts.
Oh no, like, now Lauren's so crying nice. Too. I'm sorry.
Let's cry together, Lauren. Oh. By the way, I should mention that I'm adding like little bits of highlight here. This is the slight form factor that I was talking about earlier. I probably won't get to every detail on every pumpkin this time, but I am just showing you like how I'm going about it, basically, the techniques, especially if you're following along. I highly recommend finding your own way, of course, but this is just like whoa. Just like lost this. Anyways, this is just a way to start out, and then once you find your own workflow, feel free to just follow that thing all the way to the end. one last thing I wanted to talk about is how you would put these in the app. So I'm going to bring up the app and just kind of show you guys exactly what's going on with that. Earlier I mentioned that, here, we can put this all in a group. This is pumpkin group. That there are two elements basically. Oh, this is the eyes of the ghosts. Whoops. Okay, so there are two elements that go into the sticker making process for specifically the program that I use, which is stickerapp. And one of them is the background, and one of them is the individual stickers. The background can just be a JPEG, and the other ones are PNGs with no background. So let's try this.
Also, Jack said, had to step away, but I'm back, and these are looking too cute. So spoopy. Love the long boy in the right corner.
Wait, long boy in the right corner? Yes, yeah. I love him too. By the way, I just like glanced back at this, and I feel like I want to darken the pumpkins ever so slightly to make the glow read it even more. So I'm going to just put a hue saturation layer above the pumpkin colors and the soft light layer that has the variety of colors. And you can totally collapse these down whenever you want. But just like, look at the power of this. Like slightly darker makes the faces stand out so much. Really dark, you can see only the faces and the ghosts.
It really does.
So I just kind of want to judge that and see if I like any small tweaks. Usually with these kind of things, I whenever I'm doing like a layer tweak, I try to keep it pretty subtle. But within the sliders, I go pretty extreme to find where that subtle kind of lies. So I'm going like, woo, 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 and it all has to make noise, obviously.
Absolutely. I don't think I've met a creative that doesn't do a noise or some interesting little movement of some sort. Something.
Yes, you gotta. Let me find the specific thing. Sorry, I needed to do this before.
Christopher said, I love that red little punk with the flame from the eyes.
Yes, exactly. Oh, little punk. So here is the stickerapp website. This is for sticker sheets specifically, and it's the 5x5 by 8.5, which is the size that we've been using. So you can upload the image and artwork for the background here, and then this is for the stickers. So you can just see this is like a very simplified layout. It's very easy to use. They always have a comment section. So if you were like to say, I want all the ghosts to be glow in the dark because they have special materials, then you would just say like, hey, the ghosts or this color or whatever, make that glow in the dark, and then they would do that. Super cool stuff. So if I were to make this sticker sheet for realsies, I would save out this layer. I would have stars and cute things all over it as a JPEG, and then I would turn off my background layers and I would crop in on each pumpkin. And I would make sure that pumpkin is the only thing on the layer. So I would delete those out. And then I would save this as a PNG because PNGs allow you to have a see-through background. And then that is the sticker. And they would put in automatically a cut line around it. I think that our time is better served by painting than by showing you exactly what I just told you in practice, because it would probably be a little clunky. But that is the process. So I just wanted you to know that this is what I'm thinking when I'm creating it, that I want individual layer pumpkins with clean edges. I want a background artwork that can just be a JPEG. So really it can be anything. And I want to make sure that the layers around my pumpkin are clear. So say this is the cut line that they would put in around my sticker. Uh-oh, that star just like impeded the cut line. That would look like a little weird area on the black. So I want to move that star over, that kind of stuff.
So would you use, let's say once you've cemented everything down, you've made a version that you can collapse together, would you use that ability to highlight all the objects, you go to modify, create a little expanded outline and paste that so you could see where the cut line would be?
Yes, that would be brilliant. Okay, you're smart, right? You got the brain going.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, as we said before, there are a million ways to do things, but yeah, creating a little expanded version of your layer that your stickers are on is what Ray was saying, to create that like border and understand exactly where it would be.
And before we close up, I do have another question. Yeah. So you said that you would crop around each pumpkin individually. How would the website know where to put them?
They float, so you would be able to place them individually. So you can just like, yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, then for the final, and I love the noises, can you show us your finalized beautiful pumpkins one last time?
Here is the pumpkin sticker sheet as it exists now. I can finalize this, and I could either print it up or I could post it on social media or whatever, because it's a beautiful piece of artwork in its own right, but then also can double as a physical good that you can get.
Awesome. Lovely. And Lauren said I'm not prepared for you both to leave. I'm so sorry, Lauren. Anna, have you enjoyed your moment back again?
Absolutely. Oh, I love being here. Thank you so much for having me and for hosting me, Ray. You've been amazing. And the conversation was wonderful. So thank you, everybody who contributed.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Anna. I think I'm supposed to tell you that you're amazing.
What? No. I'm happy to be here.
We're always happy to have you, Anna. Maybe see you again soon.
I hope so.
For everybody else, make sure you do go ahead and follow Anna Daviscourt. The details to find Anna is down below in the chat. I'm sure we'll repost it again. We'll add it to the description. We'll see. But thank you very much for being here. Stay tuned, though, as we've got a new show I've just been informed about with Cody Bear and Voodoo Val. Hope you had fun.
Juxtapaint. Woo! See you guys.